You are listening to In the Making with Mander. I'm your host, Amanda Roy, also known as Mander. And I am here today with my friend, Brandon Serafino, and we're going to talk about art. Hi,
Hello.
Brandon.
Hey, Amanda. Thanks for
How's it
having me.
going?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing
This is
well.
awesome.
All right. So, Brandon,
Yeah.
tell us about yourself. Tell the audience who
Sure.
Brandon Serafino is.
My name is Brandon Serafino. I'm a musician, producer, multi-instrumentalist. Yeah, and just music is my whole life. It's what I do. And yeah, that's kind of more or less. I'm based in Hartford. I've been here about 10 years now, which is crazy to say. And yeah, full-time performer, producer, studio artist, and all that. Yeah.
And where'd you come from?
I'm
What
originally,
brought you to
yeah,
Hartford?
sure. So I'm originally from Springfield,
Hmm.
Massachusetts. I was born and raised there, lived most of my young life there. I originally came to Hartford for college. I went to Trinity here in Hartford. And then I briefly left for a few years. I lived in Brooklyn. Loved it there. It was great, but I did have a calling to kind of come back here. I had already built a good community while I was in school here and met a lot of locally based artists. And yeah, and the community kind of drew me back in. I wanted to save money. I was just, it was hard to be in the rat race of New York and be a working musician. And I ended up working a job I hated and spending much less time on the art, ironically. And that wasn't my intention going into New York. So when I came back here, I was kind of able to balance that lifestyle with actually working on my art and ironically spending more time in New York living here and going back and forth and because I had that affordability, which is nice. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of musicians in our community here in Hartford who
Mhm.
do that, who
Mhm.
moved to New York for a little while, did the New York thing, and decided something about Hartford was pulling them back. It could be it's more affordable here, but also there's a scene that they could
Absolutely.
contribute to in a different way. Gigs might pay a little bit better than New
Mhm.
York, and they could do something here,
Totally.
build something.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a multi-factor thing. Like the community was pulling me back too. I was keeping in touch with people,
Hmm.
coming to shows here, open mics, attending jam sessions, things like that. And then eventually, it just felt like the right move to be back here. And I will say, I think this is another common theme in the area is like you don't know how long you're going to end up here, and it's not a bad thing. But you find yourself building a community, and it's such an important factor of just living that you end up staying here longer than you might have anticipated. And for me, I was like, oh, maybe it'll be a few years. And I look back and it's been a decade. And it's been a beautiful decade, growth artistically, personally, socially. But I wasn't expecting to be here this long.
Yeah,
And I hear that a lot from people. It's like,
yeah.
but I do think that's a testament to what you can build here, sustain here. You can still travel, you can still do things and expand your network and your horizons, but also call this home base. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Is there something in particular that you're proud of that you've done, that you've contributed in building either the artist community, the music community, yourself
Mm.
in this space in particular?
I think one of the major things I'm most proud of is just continuing to include the youth in what I
Mm-hmm.
do. I think it's always important, and it's always something that's on my mind when I'm making music, is to continue to connect with the next generation of artists and keep those lines of communication open. I don't want to become like the old crusty artist that thinks our music was the best, our taste was the best. So giving back in that way and also just connecting, myself and my friend Zulu, who's also a producer and co-produced on a lot of my music, we started working in the public schools in Manchester and Hartford, travel a little bit too, go to Boston, Lowell, other places. But by doing that, it's actually re-inspired me and reinformed my own art. I'm not sure I would continue to be experimenting and pushing sonically in certain ways if it wasn't for the fact that I'm always interacting with teenagers and they're telling me what's popping right now, and I just love the energy that they give. It keeps me young, keeps me
Yeah.
feeling like inspired and motivated. So yeah, we've been doing that like 3 or 4 years now. Especially summer, we do a lot of summer schools, and we teach them things like podcasting, recording technology, producing, beat making, things like that. So that's something I look back on, and I'm really proud just to being able to do that and use my music in that way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And did you come from like a childhood and an upbringing that supported you in stepping into a role as an artist. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I was very blessed in that way. My father was a musician, blues guitarist, songwriter himself. He put out a few albums throughout his life. My mother was also a singer. She sang opera. She didn't pursue it professionally, but she did it for most of her life. And yeah, and I have two sisters, and both of my sisters were, I would say, musically gifted as well. They did musical theater and sang in choirs. So it kind of was encouraged in our family. I grew up with a lot of instruments in the household. So by an early age, I was kind of noodling around on guitars and pianos and drums. So it was always there. And then I was just lucky enough. I mean, my father had a pretty standard, he worked for a bank for a while. He worked in Springfield, like a corporate job, but he always kept music in his life. And he never discouraged me from pursuing it professionally. I think he always thought, he was like, Brandon, you even have more of a passion for this than I even did. He's like, and I had a lot. He's like, so I see it as your purpose. I see it as your gift. He's like, I'm going to completely encourage you to keep following that. He was like, just like figure out a way to make money, figure out a way to sustain yourself. But he's like, chase that if that's what you want to chase.
That's beautiful.
So I'm honored that he felt the vision was, pure and something worthwhile.
Yeah,
so.
worth encouraging.
Same with my mother.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because a lot of people are discouraged from doing that because
absolutely
the stigma of the starving artist.
Totally. I was discouraged in other ways. I ironically, it wasn't so much my family, but societally, like you just see it, like bringing it up publicly, like even throughout college and pursuing that in a school where a lot of kids were doing political science, econ, pre-law, pre-med. I was definitely the oddball out. Even in my friend circle, I like to keep, a lot of my friends were not artists. I feel like I always had friends from other walks of life. And there was a time in my life where I felt a little self-conscious being like, so what do you do? And I'm just a musician, or I'm an artist and this is what I do full time. Oh, is that on the side? No, this is what I do,
Yeah.
But I've stepped into that. Definitely in the last few years, I don't have that hold back anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And you've built something, you've been able to build a career out of it. And you do a lot of different things. Like you said, you're a multi-instrumentalist, you're a singer.
You kind of have
producer.
to be, I think, at this point. I think that's part of the game is like, at first I was just a singer or a performer, and I realized you need to kind of be a jack of all trades and control your creative vision with the producing, the writing, composing, collaborating with other artists. If you want to make this your life, I think the more aspects of that, the more verticals you have control of, just the more capable you are of, one, actually articulating your vision in a way that's what you see in your head is what you're actually, or what you hear in your head is what you're making. If you can produce, you can write, you can sing it. And then on top of that, just actually creating a sustainable life out of it. There are more revenue streams. There's more ways to invest in yourself when you're writing and producing. And so, yeah, I had to learn that the hard way, though, because I tried just one thing with my singing, and it's tough. It's like you're just barely meeting your rent, paying your bills, and you're like, how can I use what I have with music and create more ways to do this for a living? You know?
And work with other artists. Which
yeah,
I love collaborating.
Me too.
Yeah.
I would hate to do this in a vacuum.
Yeah. So are you writing for other people or are you writing for yourself to collaborate with other people? Like have you ventured into writing music for other people to sing?
Yeah.
Or create?
Absolutely. I think more so than just writing for other singers, I've done a lot more of producing for other artists, like the sonic landscape. So creating the compositions, producing, especially other like hip hop artists, R&B singers. I've made a lot of like beats and stuff that people have used. And I always co-produced. So whether it was with like Andy, I've produced a lot of things with shout out Andy Sorensen. We've collaborated on many projects. And also I'll just create things without a specific artist in mind. And then when I meet artists and float the idea, they might like something I've created. So then we discuss how they might write to it or create something. And I worked with Zulu a lot. And like when I came back in 2015, 2016, we worked with a ton of artists around here, just kind of getting in the studio without any expectations and then just building relationships with artists and starting to kind of create organically, as opposed to like pitch them on the idea of something.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're creating those things, are you creating just from what's within you, yourself as the like I like to say sometimes, you know, that I'm my primary audience. So I'm making for myself.
Totally.
And that's all I'm doing.
Totally.
And if somebody else digs it, then they dig it. If they hate it, then screw it, whatever. I'm doing it for myself, and it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
So when you're creating like beats and stuff like that, you're creating something for yourself. And then if somebody hears it and latches onto it, then
1,000%.
then it's theirs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Theirs to contribute to.
I think that's the key. Like, it used to be consider your audience. You know, you grow up
Right.
with writing and English class, and it's always like consider your
Exactly.
audience. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, no, art is like the audience is me. Like, it's an expression. So whether or not somebody connects with it, that's on them, or that's once it's given to the world or to whoever you're sharing it with. But yeah, I just create whatever I'm feeling on a daily basis. It could be based on my mood, and I just let it flow. And like you were discussing, reminded me of the conversation you're having with Mercury, like the playfulness. Keep it playful, keep it experimental. Whatever comes, comes. And if it doesn't feel like it fits for you as an artist, then that's when you stash it, keep it in the library, and maybe you meet somebody that it reminds you of, or an artist that feels like palatable for, and that's when you say, hey, let me play you some stuff, and maybe you find that. And sometimes it's a match made in heaven. It's like, oh, I was looking for something like that. You just kind of stay open to the channel as it comes, and tune in every day and practice it. What's that? It's that book. It's like a small little book. It has a rose on the front, and it's called. Is it not Steal Like an Artist? It's another one. Oh, the War of Art. It's called The War of Art. It's a good one.
Okay.
And it's about the practice of just sitting down, and even if nothing good comes from it every day, just sitting down and making something, and it might be trash, but you're allowing yourself to invoke the muses no matter where you are, instead of being like, oh, I'm not inspired, I have writer's block. It's like, no, just the practice and the meditation of doing it that's the creative process, you know? So you might not always like it, but I try to tell myself, hey, sit down and do it no matter what. Yep. And over the course of time, you'll end up making things, whether it's for yourself or for somebody else. You know? So. And
you never know what's going to end up coming out of that, because I have what I like to call my trash art, and it's, I call it trash art because it's art that I've like made, and I'm like, I just needed to make something today.
I have so much of that.
I have a friend who is collecting my trash art, and so she's waiting for the day that I die so that my trash art is going to actually be worth something. And she's like, just wait for it, it's coming.
Of course.
But
that's the big joke with musicians too. It's like 99% of what you make never gets released.
Yeah.
Never sees the light of day.
Yeah.
And if it does, you're considered one of the most prolific artists of all time. Like, you're like Prince or something. Like, yeah.
Just got to keep creating.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to come out. And that's when the authentic art actually
totally
comes out of you. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I try not to sit on any ideas. Like, and I'm a big believer, like, if you don't create something, like, that idea is going to get put into somebody else, or like, if you're a vessel for the art, it's coming out one way or another. So allow yourself to be that vessel and like stay open to it, you know?
Yeah. Just put it out there.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
And see what happens. Take the risk. Take the leap. Yeah.
Which I've gotten better as I've gotten older. I think I was more restrained when I was younger, and now I don't overthink those processes as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how you overcame that? Because I feel like a lot of artists are probably in that kind of spot.
It sounds cliche, but like 10,000 hours, just like putting in the work, like making it a practice, as I said, instead of worrying about the result. Yeah. I think for a while I was worried about like, how many people will hear this? Is it worth the time I've put into it? It used to be an equation of worth the time you put in, is the output going to be the reception? And now the reception is something I don't, of course you always going to worry about it as an artist, as a creator, but like, I don't think about that first. I'm just like, process, create the thing, keep creating the thing, keep putting it out there, keep sharing, and eventually that process is like a compounding thing, and more people will hear it, and the people that you think need to connect with it at that moment will, but it's not so much driven by who's going to hear it, how are they going to like it, all the validation parts of it. It just came with time and maturing, and also I think just getting older and experiencing more adulthood and being like, this is not that serious. It's just not that serious. Like, no one cares that much, you know what I mean? And
they're not paying attention that much.
And the irony is, when you start to think that way is when you make some of your best stuff, I feel like, 'cause you're not worried about that, you know? But that's like every young artist. You kind of are hungry a little bit for the validation, and it's just part of the process. Yeah.
Is there something that's like inspiring you specifically right now? Is there something that, I don't know, sometimes we have these things that bubble up in us, and it's like, this is what is really guiding my art right now. Is there something for you right now that's...
Yeah, I think it's like community, like my community right now. The last few years have been a very like tenuous few years for me personally, just things I've gone through in my life, and the people I've surrounded myself with, and the music and the culture that's inspired me has been something that's kind of put a battery in my back again. So a lot of my friends who are producers and DJs, I've been traveling a lot to the city, back and forth, a lot more in Brooklyn. And people that I've connected with and shared with, also I share similar value sets with. It's actually taken me back into the space I was in college musically. I was it's very specific, but I was a world music student, like ethnomusicology. It's kind of like the anthropology of music. So I studied how music cultures affect things like politics, religious systems, social systems, all that. And I'm seeing that again in real time when I'm traveling to New York with my friends, and I'm going to a lot of parties that are like piano parties, ballet funk parties, Afrobeat, like a lot of international music cultures that are hosted in New York. And it's just amazing to see community come together through music, especially in the world right now with how turbulent everything is. So it seems to be a place like it really does to see a community space, like a safe place for people to go and enjoy themselves and commune with others. So that's just reinformed my music and in the intention I had behind my music, trying to use it as a place for people to just come together, unify, and and speak their truth. So yeah, that's what I've been inspired by.
Yeah. And I know that you have like put together playlists and stuff, which I've checked out because world music isn't something that I've been exposed to a lot. I try to listen to as much music as possible, but I know that you have like opened me up to a few different
Nice. I'm
things
glad
by
you're
like
listening.
listening to that. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
that's it. It started there. Like I've been curating playlists called the Global Grooves playlist. That started last year, and then that kind of launched into my idea of a series called Global Club Kit. So I'm putting out my first volume is called Global Club Kit Volume 1, and it's a lot of music I grew up on, like early 2000s R&B and hip hop. So I'm stripping the vocals from those songs and I'm making all original production underneath, utilizing different world music sounds and sounds that I've been influenced by throughout my life. And international dance music. So I'm taking the international dance music and kind of overlaying it on classic R&B and hip hop songs.
Yeah.
That I grew up with, and I'm calling it Global Club Kit Volume 1. So that'll be the first one, and I'll see if we continue to do more. But I'm really excited, and I've been like passing around to my DJ friends and producers, and that's brought the playfulness back to music for me. It's made me like get out of my head and just like explore and genre mash and kind of like watercolor smear things, collage style more. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to go back to like music that's like has nostalgia, right? Like to dip back into that and then to add it to what is inspiring you now. That's a really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a
cool
different
mix.
part of my brain. It scratches a different itch for me than the songwriting, where I think getting vulnerable and getting deep all the time can be draining.
Yeah.
But this is a little more celebratory, a little more
Playful.
loose and playful. And it's allowed me to create without any expectations or inhibitions. And it's making me create some of what I think is some just my best stuff artistically in general. So
I love that. And so when is that coming out?
that's a good question. I'm waiting for the cover art right now. My
Okay.
friend Nick, who is a great artist, is doing like a collage piece for the cover art.
Okay.
And then hopefully, definitely before the end of the summer. So I'd say like by the last week of July, hopefully later this month. So
Yeah. I love that. You know, when musicians can work with visual artists to do
Oh,
cover
love
art, I
that.
love it.
Yeah, I saw
It's
his stuff
so
and I was like,
cool.
it's a perfect match. So.
That's great. That's great. Awesome. That's really exciting. Well, thanks, Brandon.
Thank you,
This was a
Amanda.
good
This is awesome.
conversation.
I love this.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And, you know, people can check out that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's
It's all on my page, Brandon Serafino. You can go find all of it. Yeah.
awesome. All right, cool. And we're gonna hope they do that. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in the Make It with Mander. Like, follow, subscribe, and catch the next episode.